Hi everybody. Alright, you should all be watching the lesson video today. So, I hope you have your notes out. If not, you can pause right now, get your paper out and your binder and ready to go. Okay, write down today's I can sentence. I can create equivalent expressions. I can create equivalent expressions. Okay, so what we learned yesterday were expressions, the order of operations drop-down work. Let's just take a look at one. Example number 1, let's just start off with a review over yesterday's. Let's say we have 2 plus 3 times 6. All right, Aunt Sally, order of operations, says PEMDAS. All right, look for parentheses. We don't have any. Look for exponents. We don't have any. Multiplying and dividing, right there. 3 times 6 is 18. Drop down everything else we haven't used, the plus and the 2. And no more of that. And adding and subtracting, that's all we have left. And 2 plus 18 is 20. So our answer is 20. So that's an expression. There's no equal sign. Expressions do not have equal signs ever. So we call this an expression, which is why we say that we simplify an expression. It's not like simplifying a fraction. It's different. We're simplifying this down until all we have left is just an answer. Okay, so today we're going to talk about expressions, 2 different expressions that get the same answer, and some of the rules that get those. And these rules are called the number properties, and there's 4 of them. So go ahead and split your paper into 4 sections, like this. And if you do this well enough, I might even let you use it as a cheat sheet. Alright, so over here at the top, we're going to have the associative property, the commutative property, the identity property, and the distributive property. Okay, there's 4 properties we have to learn. And I think you already even kind of learned these. I think you've learned them sometime 3rd grade, probably reviewed in 4th and 5th grade. We're going to go over them again in a couple weeks too. Alright, but this is where we're going to get our main meat of our meal here. Alright, the associative property. For each of these I have keywords. Alright, so the keywords with the associative property is groups. Alright, what the associative property does is it groups numbers in different ways. For instance, if I have 2 plus the group 3 plus 4, that is the same thing as if I have the group 2 plus 3 plus 4. My numbers are in the same order, 2, 3, 4, and I'm dealing with adding the whole time. I didn't change that. So when I keep my numbers in the same order, and I'm dealing with all adding or all multiplying, and I just change what's in the parentheses, okay, that is called the associative property. How did this expression change to that expression? Well, it changed with the associative property. All we did was change what is grouped together. That's why the keyword there is groups. It also works with multiplying. I could easily have 2 times 3 times 4. And over here I could have 2 times 3, then times 4. No matter what, they're all going to get me the same answer. Alright, the next one, commutative property. The key word for the commutative property is order. All it does is change what order the numbers are in. For example, if I have 2 plus 3 plus 4, that will give me the same answer as 3 plus 4 plus 2. As long as I stay all with the adding and don't change that, and I keep the same three numbers, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, right, the answer will still be the same. And it works the same way with multiplying. If I have 2 times 3 times 4, as long as I keep those same three numbers and stay with multiplying, 3 times 4 times 2 will get me the same exact answer. All right, so the commutative order changes, or the commutative property changes the order of the numbers. Now notice, both of these only work for adding and multiplying. That's it. Doesn't work for subtraction, doesn't work for dividing. All right. Now down here at the bottom, the identity property. It's probably the easiest. No change. The identity property, when this happens, nothing changes. And there's a couple ways this goes. If I have 1 plus 0, what do I get? 1. Nothing changed. The 0, the adding of the 0 did not change the 1. All right, so that's one of the ways the identity property happens, if you're adding 0. The other way, can you think of another way that we have a problem that doesn't change anything? How about this one? 3 times 1 equals, you got it, 3. When we multiply by 1, it doesn't change the number. 3 times 1 was still 3. There was no change there. So the identity property typically deals with plus 0 and times 1. Once again, you're seeing that only dealing with adding and multiplying. All right, the distributive property is probably the hardest one. Its keyword is share. Share. And this is the one we're going to spend the most time on in the 6th grade. But just go over it briefly with you. Here's what the distributive property looks like. 3 times 2 plus 4. If you're going to answer this math problem, 3 times 2 plus 4, using the distributive property, it looks like this. And you take the outside number and you share it with both of the inside numbers separately. So you would do 3 times 2, and then you would do separately 3 times 4. So we know 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 4 is 12. And then check it out. What's in the middle there is an adding. So add those two together, 6 plus 12, and we get a final answer of 18. Right, that distributive property shares the outside number with the two inside numbers using multiplication. It shares the 3 with the 2, and it shares the 3 with the 4. So there's our 4 number properties. And they're little keywords. And like I said, this is not the only time we'll go over these, and it's not the first time you've heard them. So hopefully they're a little familiar for you. Let's look at what some math problems with these look like. We go on example number 2. All right, if I gave you, let's see here. I'm going to give you 3 sets of problems. All right, so let's do 2 times 3 times 4. And 4 times 3 times 2. Let's do 8 plus 1 plus 3 and 3. Oh, no, I don't want to do that one. Let's do 8 plus 3 plus 1 and 8 plus 3 plus 1. And then let's do 46 plus 0 and 46. So what I want you to do is pause the video, and I want you to write down what property each one of these is. So go ahead and hit pause. When you figure out what property each one of these is, then hit play, see if you're right. Okay, the first one. If you noticed, we have a 2, a 3, and a 4. We have a 2, a 3, and a 4. And we have multiplying, 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 multiplying. So what changed here? The order changed. Which property changes the order? The commutative property changes the order. So those are two expressions. They were changed using the commutative property because we switched the order. Let's look at the next one. We have 8 plus 3 plus 1, 8 plus 3 plus 1. But look what changed. Here the 3 and the 1 are together, and here the 8 and the 3 is together. You should have noticed that that is the associative property. And down here at the bottom, there's 46 plus 0 and 46. Well, did 46 change? No, it kept its identity. Okay? So I hope you got those right. Let's do one more set of problems. Example number 3 and example number 4, and then I'll let you go. I'll be done. Example number 3. Let's say that I'm going to give you this expression. 3 times 4 times 5. And I want you to change it using the associative property. And then over here, you know what? I'm going to make that a little bit harder. That's a little too easy. Let's change it using the commutative property. So write a new expression where all you did to it was change this one using the commutative property. And example number 4, let's use the expression 30. And I want you to change that using the identity property. So write me an expression where all you did was change 30 using the identity property. So go ahead and hit pause. Take a couple minutes, think it over. When you have your answers, hit play. Okay, so hopefully you're ready. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 gave you the expression 3 times parenthesis 4 times 5. So let's see if you were able to change it using the commutative property. The commutative property changes something's order. So all we had to do was switch out the 3, 4, and 5. So you could have said 5 times 4 times 3. You could have said 4 times 5 times 3. You could have said, there's a bunch of different things you could have said. You could have said 3 times 5 times 4. As long as you kept the group at the end, and you changed the numbers in the order they are in, and kept it multiplying, you're good. You had to use a 3, a 4, and a 5, and keep it with multiplying, and you had to keep that group at the end of it. And like I said, these are not the only 3. There's a lot more you could have there. Alright, number 4. We have the number 30, and you had to change it using the identity property. Remember, the identity property only has 2 options. You're either adding 0 or you're multiplying by 1. So you could have wrote 30 plus 0. You could have also wrote 30 times 1. Those were the only 2 options there. So I hope you did an awesome job with this. I think you are ready for the quick check quiz. So we're going to close out of this and get on Schoology on your quick check quiz.